Hello friends, is life insurance about logic or is it about magic? Today we are going to talk about a very interesting phenomena. One of the objection which is always comes to the fore, and I think this is one of the major objections which we are not able to handle properly, and that is that life insurance gives very low returns. The returns are very low. How do you handle it? People talk about mutual funds, people talk about stock market, people talk about so many things. And how do you position life insurance in this particular situation? You can't just think about it because people are always focused on return. But my dear friends, as insurance agents, I would like to tell you very emphatically, very clearly, that people don't take financial decisions based on logic. They take it based on emotions. It's not about logic, it's about emotion. Logically, there are a lot of things which should not be done. Emotionally, there are a lot of things which should not be done, but yet we do. Just like I always ask my customers, do you think, do you celebrate your children's birthday every year? And how grand do you celebrate it? And the client say, yes, we do celebrate. We celebrate in a very grand way. And then I ask them, do you think, all these expenses that you are putting for your child, do you think they'll be taking care of you, or do you have any guarantee that they'll take care of you in the future? And my clients say, no, there is no guarantee. And then I can't understand. If there is no guarantee that these children will take care of somebody, of their family or their father and mother in the future, why do parents do it? Because logically it's not correct, but emotionally it's very correct. Emotionally it's very correct. People don't get any return. Imagine if instead of spending for their child's birthday, if they have to invest that money, they can get a lot of return, because expenses don't give any return. That is lost. The capital is also lost, and your interest earning potential is also lost. There is an opportunity cost. But the clients will never think about the returns. They will never think that I am going to lose the capital. They will never think I am going to lose all the future interest on this. They will celebrate all these functions, whether it is a communion, whether it is a confirmation party in case of Catholics, whether it is the string ceremony, all the ceremonies, especially the religious ceremonies, people celebrate with a lot of pomp. They don't need to celebrate marriage, but people do spend money. Actually, it's very illogical. Why would a couple who wants to get married spend all the money for the marriage? Because that same money, if they could have saved, could have brought them or could have given them much more returns. Please remember, don't get trapped into this, because the client is not able to understand that finance is emotional. It's not logical. I will again give another example. Why does a person buy a Mercedes? It's one of the worst decision financially, if you see, or logically, is one of the worst decision. Because the Mercedes costs the highest, and its servicing cost also is the highest, and its returns, or the kind of the operating cost of this is also the highest. If at all really people thought about low returns, then they would not have bought a Mercedes. They would as well have traveled in a Nano, because that would give them the best value for money. But yet they don't do it. So please remember this. They will trap you. But what happens is, like I ask always my customers, and this is about the daughter's marriage. So I ask the customer, suppose if you have kept some money aside for your daughter's marriage, and it's going to happen in the next 2-3 years, and suddenly you find a very prominent, very important building in the heart of the city where you stay, and it's going up for sale at almost 40% the cost, because the owner has come into some financial problem, and just buying that thing would automatically mean a 60% return immediately. And I asked the client, ki suppose if this fund which you have collected for your daughter's marriage, if you get such an opportunity, will you liquidate this whole fund, imagining that okay, this fund and a little bit of loan will help him to buy that property. Is he going to liquidate this and buy that property? And I put this question to the client, and the client says yes, the return will be very high, but the liquidity may not be there. So therefore I will not take that risk, because I cannot make my daughter's marriage wait. I have to see that it happens in the year or in the time period that I expected. I don't want it to get delayed, and therefore even though that opportunity is there, I will not take it. I will say logically it's foolish. Logically it is foolish, because what does it matter? The daughter can get married maybe after 5 years or 10 years. But an opportunity like this, where you're getting a 60% straight kind of return, you should really go for it. But my dear friends, you ask this question to any client, you ask this question to yourself, and I know what is the answer. The answer is you wouldn't go for that very high return thing, because you are more interested in the future, in the welfare of your daughter. You are emotionally connected. You get lot of emotional returns out of keeping this fund and not liquidating it and going for something which is much more lucrative. And therefore, my dear friends, please understand, when we are selling life insurance, we have to talk to people about the emotional returns, because there are a lot of returns. There are social returns, there are emotional returns, there are financial returns, and there is satisfaction returns. So a lot of things are there. And I think we need to focus, not just because the client will try to trap you by talking about the financial returns, they will not talk about the emotional returns. And my dear friend, this one example, by asking questions to the client about his daughter's marriage fund and the opportunity to buy a very good property, the customer will definitely opt for his daughter's marriage, because he assumes or he knows that his emotional return will be much more compared to the loss which he gets in financial terms. This, if you can just bring it forth to the customer and impress upon him, that the emotional return are much more important than the financial return. And life insurance ensures, it gives a guarantee that this emotional returns will come to the customer definitely. Thank you.